The February 2012 forecast projects a negative balance of $1.103 billion for fiscal year 2014 and 15. And this compares to a projection of a negative $1.3 billion balance projected in the November 2011 forecast. Based on these challenges and upcoming projects that people are looking at, what will be your budget priorities in relation to this community's needs? And we'll start with Marcus Harkness.
Thank you. Well, during the previous legislative session, Republicans stubbornly refused to raise income taxes on the wealthiest Minnesotans, about 7,700 millionaires, which, you know, they're trying to balance the budget on the backs of poor people, and so I would definitely fight that. Cuts on his solutions just don't work. As the minority leader, Paul Thiessen, said, when you have some money in your savings account, but you've maxed out your credit card, your savings account balance isn't real. So I want to get inside the Capitol to take these plutocratic, anti-poor puppets to the mat. My budget priorities for this community would simply be public investments which support individuals, families, and communities who cannot afford the cost of living and meeting their basic needs. When I say people over profits, I really mean it. So in terms of programs, housing, education, jobs, healthcare, the basic needs.
Joe Mullery.
Thank you. First of all, there's actually a lot more of a deficit because that's not counting the $1 billion that we also have in what's expected to be inflation, which every other state counts in there. So the things that are, obviously, I voted all of the time. I was on the tax committee for 10 years and constantly was pushing for fair taxation of the wealthy. But the things that really we have to make sure are not cut. The first thing is job training, along with the necessary child care, as I mentioned. We have to help people with disabilities get jobs. A lot of people on the north side have disabilities. They live there because it's easier. One of the most important to me is the initiatives for early childhood and youth development. We've got to start putting more money into that, have our youth raised correctly, so they can become good citizens, and along with that is education. And we have to put in extra dollars for children with challenges. Healthcare is really important. There's a lot of people on the north side that can't afford healthcare, can't afford the insurance, so we've got to maintain that. We need funds for homeowners to fix their homes. I think we need to have some funds for extra neighborhood police in certain areas. We need more funds for small business development so that we can both help people that are out of work and also build up more businesses in our community, and replacement of owner-occupied housing for young working families is a priority.
Request for a follow-up?
Yeah, you have to forgive me, I'm a little nervous. I wanted to emphasize the point that we need an equitable tax structure. I alluded to it, but I want to make that explicitly clear. We need to raise taxes on the wealthy. In Minnesota, the effective tax rate is like 3 times higher for the lowest income Minnesotans than it is for the wealthy.
David Young.
Our campaign priorities are the same things that will be our legislative priorities, are the same things that are our budget priorities. Those are providing the funding and making good jobs a reality for people in this district. They are making our streets safe so you can raise a family, so that you can confidently be a long-term resident here and live a good life. And finally, financing and providing and ensuring they continue to thrive, but great schools to provide the platform for our children so that they can thrive in the new economy. Those are our budget priorities. Those 3 things will help all of us see a better tomorrow.
David Boyd.
For me, the most important thing on setting budget priorities is our education. We need to pay back the schools the money that we borrowed from them. We need to stop shifting it to pay other programs. That is a priority in our budget that we should do first and foremost. If we're going to stay strong as a strong state and become a stronger community here, we need to focus on educating our youth, making our youth stronger and smarter to take over for the next generation. We also need to develop a better housing program for people who are within our community. We have so many people that are losing their homes. We need to focus on getting jobs so people can save their homes. We need to focus on rebuilding North Minneapolis since the storm and prior to the storm. We've had many different things that's happening within our district, but we're losing focus here. We need to focus on the priorities of rebuilding North Minneapolis. If we can rebuild our community here, then we can start helping other areas within the state, but we need to focus foremost on rebuilding our education program and rebuilding our community.
John Olson.
I think education certainly has to be a top priority, fully funding education. And I know the question refers to the fact that there'll be a deficit, but we don't know that. There was supposed to be deficits in November, and it turned out okay. So I think we need to look at it from that perspective of what should our money be going towards, and it definitely should be education. That should be our #1 investment. If you invest those dollars in children, whether it's through education or after-school programs or local programs at the parks, within the community and the libraries, give them an opportunity to build a solid foundation to achieve the opportunities that will be available to them in the future with a good, solid background. That's going to be a very, very productive thing. Also, restoring local government aid, I think, needs to be a top priority. I know it's been an issue, and you're probably tired of hearing the city cry while they cut our local government aid, but the fact is it affects the city greatly. It affects the park system. If we had the LGA we were promised, we would probably deal with a few other issues like Northern Metals, which is having a great impact on our community, and it's a huge fight right now at the Capitol with the Pollution Control Agency. The funds would be there to find a solution, and the solution really is buy them and move them, send them down river, and work on restoring our riverfront, work on restoring our clean air, and a good environment for all of our citizens, whether they're young or old. So.
Time. Thanks very much. The next question is